still to this day have all of his letters from boot camp, from the military. It's my way of just reminding myself of what this is, what that is, and it's the reason. You know, these things happened, and this is the reason I have to apply to it. And it's really is all for him. It's a way to carry on the legacy that I highly doubt he knew what he was doing when he was telling us, you know, me and my brother and sister, like, hey, Ever Ford, like, quit being a shithead, you know, like, you know, be a good person, you know. He never, or didn't always just flat out would say, Chase, live a life Ever Ford. Like, no, like, we weren't like that deep, but, you know, he led by example. And, you know, he always said it, and he picked it up from his time in the military. And so I think without realizing it, he was laying the groundwork. He was building the infrastructure for what we're doing now. And I'm so thankful for it. You know, that book in particular, you know, still I have it on my nightstand. It's a tether to him. It's a reminder of this isn't about you. You know, this is to serve the greater good, to serve the people, to honor him, to my family. My name is Chase Chewning, and this is my story.
The blueprint of Chase Chewning, you've 6 years active Army, in the military, and then now you're an entrepreneur with Ever Forward Radio, Ever Forward Coach, all those things. So if you just want to kind of open it up and just explain who you are, what you're currently doing, and where you're from. Yeah,
absolutely. So, you said it, I'm a veteran. That's a big part of who I am. From not far from here in Virginia. I grew up way down Southwest Virginia, not in the city like this at all. Very much a country kid, growing up on almost 200 acres with my family, my siblings, just building forts and playing in the creek, as we used to call it. And so that really like molded my childhood and really who I am today. You know, coming from pretty humble beginnings. And then pursued a military career, went into the military, enlisted into the Army right after high school. Actually, I was still in high school. I was like Christmas break my senior year of high school. My dad drove me up, swore me in, and left, did my 6 years active duty. And during that time, I thought I was gonna stay in, but life, the military had other plans for me. I wound up getting a series of injuries that ultimately led to my medical discharge. And that really sparked my interest in the human body, recovery, rehab, exercise, nutrition. And so when I moved back to Virginia, I went to school for it. I went about 2 hours south of here, Richmond, Virginia, did my undergraduate there, completed my master's up here in DC at American University, just learning really to better myself so I could better understand this new version of me, because I wasn't the same. Going from broken to rehab and creating a new identity, a new body, really put me on the path where I am today of going into the fitness space, so to speak. And then, kind of fast forward all through that, you know, here I am doing all that, but for myself, all under this umbrella of Ever Forward.
Like you were saying before, you had to leave, unfortunately, due to an injury. So, in the phrase, everything happens for a reason, do you believe that that's why things happen, because of what you're currently doing now with all the Ever Forward stuff? Do you believe in that saying in general?
Absolutely. I mean, with a little bit of a twist, I forget who I heard this from the first time, but it's not so much that everything happens for a reason, but everything happens and it's up to us to give it a reason. And certainly speaking...
That's good, I never heard that before.
Yeah, isn't it? It's just like...
It's a much different saying than everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely, which I believe that more.
Okay.
I believe everything happens. I mean, us sitting here, this is something happening, but it's up to us to give it a purpose, give it a reason. And so in the beginning, I could see how it would be very easy for me to not give it a purpose. Like, I was doing all these things, I was trying to be better, I was trying to pursue this soldier life, and, you know, like, why? You know, why, kind of like, why me? You know, I was doing everything right that I thought, but, you know, I kind of just, like we always say, embrace the suck. And I was like, you know, it's not meant to be. Clearly, I'm not meant to do this long term. And so what was amazing to me was through great doctors, through great physical therapists, like them teaching me how to better operate and understand the human body, I was like, maybe there's something more to this. So during that time, like almost 2 years, about a year and a half, almost 2 years, I was a patient. I was just getting cut up, rehab, learning how to walk again. I really learned how to use that time wisely. And that time, that purpose for me was to lay the foundation to understand the infrastructure of the human body, my human body, and what I needed to do to grow, to get better, to move again.
Right.
And absolutely, if that didn't happen to me, I don't think I would be so interested in health, fitness, nutrition, behavior change, like all these things of what I do and preach and coach on and train others on now, that I wouldn't have had that foundation for sure.
With you being a in-house health coach that you were talking about, leaving that job, was it one of the hardest things you had to do or one of the easiest things?
It's like all the above. I think every person who leaves a safe thing to pursue something that interests them a little bit more.
Right. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yep, I got you. Yep. Interrupt the interview.
Damn tourist. This is why you don't bring out professional photography equipment
in the
nation's capital.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Everyone thinks you're a professional photographer. They will ask you to take their picture.
Damn it, so where were you?
Yeah, right. So, going from the safety net of a sure thing,
Yes.
A corporate job, a steady paycheck, because something else is pulling you in, and that's what it was for me. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved my job. I loved what I did, working one-on-one with, we called them patients. It was in a medical environment. So one-on-one with my patients for years. I managed a team of 7 other amazing health coaches and people so I got to do my job, I got to do the leadership and management, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. But I could tell what we were lacking in and where our patients needed more, where this field, where this industry was headed. And just one little guy in, a large, small business, I was just not making a dent. And it didn't matter what I was bringing to the table. It didn't matter the CEO conversations that I had. It didn't really matter because there were so many other steps and red tape that you had to go through to satisfy the needs of the business first,
right,
without actually getting to the needs of the customer, of the client. And for me, that just didn't make sense. And so I knew that I knew what I had as a person, as a coach, that I had something greater to offer my people. And I also knew where the technology was heading, where the resources were heading, the demands of the people, the best way to keep them engaged, because my goal was and still is to serve as many people as possible.
Right.
And whether that's getting someone to work out, whether that's getting someone to improve their relationship with their spouse, whether that's getting to the gym or just de-stressing, being happier in general, I knew I had what it took, or I knew where to go to find it to serve the needs of our people, and it just wasn't going to happen there.
So besides my Ever Forward interview being your favorite,
of course,
what is there an interview that stands out to you most, or has there been a favorite moment so far with the podcast for Ever Forward?
Yeah. I mean, quite a few. This is probably another obvious one besides you, of course. But I've interviewed my brother. I had him on last summer, and then we did another little follow-up. But Max is a guy that I grew up with. So I know my brother,
right,
in and out. Maybe even a little bit more than he knows himself. But when you're on the other side of a table and you're asking specific questions and like you're digging deeper, outside of just like if 2 bros went out to get lunch or something, it really showed me a really cool, unique perspective on him. And how he has developed his version of Ever Forward and where we're heading in this together. Also, recently actually, a guy by the name of Bedros Killian, thanks to him, he and his team invited Ever Forward Radio out to this incredible fitness business summit, this big speaking event in San Diego for 3 days. And because of that opportunity, the podcast just boomed. I made so many new connections, so many new interviews. I was in a room with other people at my level, but definitely above my level. And it was just one of the most humbling experiences where someone way bigger than me, way more successful than me, saw something in me, saw something in what we were creating, said, hey, come be a part of what I've got. And he's decades deep in the business. I mean, he's a multiple seven-figure business owner. I mean, the impact that he makes on people's lives is just amazing. And I had the opportunity to do a follow-up interview with him just the other day. And this guy's story of escaping with his life, his family's life from Soviet Russia, from Armenia, fleeing through Europe to get over here to the States.
Incredible.
And just restarting his life. I mean, I could go on talking about just the trauma and physical and emotional stresses that he and his family went through, but then you look at that, like kind of like our story of Ever Forward, like you have to endure these things. These things happen to you, and you can either let them just happen and just, be woe is me, or give it reason, and he did. And his reason is something that like reignited a fire in me. Right. It was amazing. Yeah.
Right. So My Utmost for His Highest is a book that your dad gave you before you left.
Damn. Yeah, you did your homework. Yeah, man.
And then he wrote in it on the first page and signed it's Ever Forward.
Yeah.
What is that significance to you for that book?
That book, this daily devotional book, he gave me, it was very much a tether to home when I was in boot camp. He gave it to me the day I got on the bus to ship out. And I didn't really look at it then because I was just going through so much at the time, but that was my connection home. And I read it when I could. Dad, full disclosure, some days I didn't get any free time in boot camp, go figure. But
I'm sure he's okay with that.
Right, yeah. And but when I got out of boot camp, when I was beginning my military career, especially when he started to get sick, it again, it was my tether to him. It was my tangible reminder that this wasn't about me. And I was being selfish, and I wanted to get out of the military. I wanted to abandon my path to go be with him, to be with my family, but he wouldn't let me. And when he was physically with me to remind me of that, he sure as hell did. He's the one who talked me to stay into the military. And then when he wasn't around, when I was, when I was 3,000 miles away, when he was sick, when he passed away, that book, I still to this day have all of his letters from boot camp, from the military. It's my way of just reminding myself of what this is, what that is.
Right.
And it's the reason, these things happened, and this is the reason I have to apply to it. And it's really is all for him.
To kind of tie it into what you and your brother really always preach and always say to the people that follow and try to live a life ever forward. What does ever forward mean to you, and how do you personally live a life ever forward?
Yeah, to put it in one phrase for me is so hard. Because the easy way for me to just get out of this answer is to say it's everything.
Yeah.
Because it really is. I wake up, I breathe it. It's my license plate. It's our wristband. It's our the apparel line. It's my job. But it's a reminder to get out of my own way. It's a reminder to try to abandon the self as much as possible. Again, certainly something that my dad did, leading by example, and my stepmom too. I grew up more under my grandmother, my stepmom, and our dad because my parents split when I was so young. But I mean, my stepmom as well. She just, the matter of resiliency and the matter of giving, and literally putting yourself last. That memory of my family, and then having this to wear it every day, to see it every day. Is a physical, tangible reminder of no matter what you're doing, whether I'm doing something for Ever Forward, I'm going out to dinner, meeting someone for the first time, is to don't make it about you. Like I was saying earlier, I thoroughly believe, especially in the business world, entrepreneur world, the more you give, the more you put out. People take note of that because it is really rare. So if you can just make it about others, if you can try to, and I'm not perfect, my wife will definitely tell you I'm not. She's like, Chase, sometimes you're being pretty selfish right now. I'm like, okay, thank you for calling me out. But so it's a process, you know, removing the ego, removing yourself is a process. And so to live a life ever forward means to do just that, and to always try to remember, because it's easy to forget, but to try to remember that these things happen to us, and if we can give it a reason, it makes life purposeful. It gives us the ability to endure. It helps you put on this new lens of, instead of this is the problem, you know, like this is the way. You know, what gift is this thing giving me that I'm not seeing right now? So it's so easy to apply in any aspect of life. But,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I try my hardest, my damn hardest, on a day-to-day level to live by this message, and I'm so thankful for what you and your brother have done, because honestly, man, like if it wasn't for this, I don't know if I would have done the article.
This is beautiful.
Have put this out because my goal is to inspire somebody. I'm trying to, with just people like us, man, normal everyday people, you can do whatever the hell you want in your life.
You can do anything. Like we were just saying yesterday, driving around, like anybody can do anything they want.
It's so important, and it's whatever will make you happy. You have to do it. So
that's it.
I thank you and your brother very much, because it's given me the confidence to live my life ever forward. And you know, I cherish everything that I have. I'm so thankful for the family, the friends, everything I have in my life, and to be able to do this, to come down to DC to meet you, dude, it's.
I live here and I don't even come to the Capitol. So thank you for getting me out of my apartment.
Dude, thank you, man. It's much appreciated.
Andrew, it's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much.